Hello everyone, I am the Dire Duck. Glitch have grown themselves quite the catalogue of shows now, haven't they? From the more humble beginnings of the SMG4, to their first experiments with indie animation in Meta Runners and Sunset Paradise, to their first big hit in Murder Drones, to the global phenomenon that was their latest release show, The Amazing Digital Circus. Glitch have also recently announced a new show, The Knights of Guinevere, their latest creation with an all-new teaser trailer. But wait, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Something important. Something quite dead. Ah yes, the Gaslight District. Well, I can't be blamed that much for forgetting it. After all, Glitch themselves have seemingly forgotten all about this show as well. But I hear you ask, what is the Gaslight District, and why hasn't it come out yet? Well, dear viewer, I will aim to answer these questions for you today. We will go over the short history of the Gaslight District, what we currently know, and most mysterious of all, why it has seemingly fallen off the face of the earth, and become Glitch's forgotten show. So, what actually is the Gaslight District? Well, according to Glitch themselves, it is an action crime drama that takes place after the end of the world and centers around a group of undead gangsters that fight for control over what remains. This being a small island filled with undead gangs and other criminals who cannot die, cursed by God to forever rot. Which, considering what we have seen so far, with the glowing-eyed ghoul, the decaying 1920s aesthetic, and crows, lots and lots of crows, seems about right. Or maybe they're just blackened undead seagulls. After all, the show is set on a literal godforsaken island. Not to mention it would also be on brand considering the creator's name after all. Speaking of the creator, part-time seagull or Nick Shoko has previously done a lot of work in animation, storyboarding, background art and character design. He had previously worked as a background artist for Spindle Horse for a time and has some smaller projects under his belt. Them being Walkman the Robot, a collection of short music animations about a robot that wants to become a musician, and also, Genitales. An adult comic about, well, two friends that resemble certain body parts, going on quite esoteric adventures that I cannot show on YouTube for what I would hope would be obvious reasons. Despite the designs of the characters, I can assure you that the actual comic is not nearly as bad as you're probably picturing in your head. Funnily enough, this comic makes up most of Nick's writing/story experience for what I have been able to find. In the same vein as Liam, Nick clearly has a distinctive style that he likes to implement. In fact, while doing research for this video, I found character design for some of his earlier projects that very much look like the characters we are now seeing in the Gaslight District. In fact, some in particular, especially from a project called Smiling Dead, bears striking resemblance to the characters we now see in the Gaslight District. So, just like Liam, Nick clearly has been playing around with the same general ideas for a while, with Nick having certain designs and characters that he'd been constantly reimagining. Interestingly enough, however, the name of the gang that our main characters are all part of is also called the Smiling Dead, suggesting that these were early designs of said characters. Speaking of the characters, we have a few of them named. First, we have our main female protagonist, named Melancholy Hill, the mafia princess of the Smiling Dead gang. Next up, we have Ken the Butcher, the leader of said gang, and the only character that we currently have a voice for so far. Then we have Mud, who looks like he's half melting underneath that suit. And finally, we have, Breadhead, a rather large chap that is apparently Ken's son, as well as having a head that looks like, well, bread. But that is enough preamble. Let's talk about the Gaslight District's current history with Glitch. But to do that, we have to take ourselves back to the very beginning. Not that far back, no. Instead, back to late 2022, where Nick posted his first public teaser related to the Gaslight District. Now, if you haven't already realised, that is almost one whole year before Glitch X, which I am sure is where most of you first heard about this project, or indeed part-time Seagull himself. Which just goes to show how long this project has been in the works for in some form or another. Something you may immediately notice about this first trailer is the fact that it seems to be in 2D, or at the very least a 3D style that looks like 2D. But what you may have noticed from all the more recent trailers shown off by Glitch, including that surprise New Year post that they made, is that Gaslight have become more distinctively 3D in its animation, which is far more in line with what Glitch usually produces. After all, they are far more experienced in 3D animation than they are in 2D animation. Though Glitch have now formed a 2D animation team for the production of the Knights of Guinevere, so if I were to get my theory cap on for a second, I have a feeling that Glitch originally explored trying to make the Gaslight District in that original 2D looking style, but quickly discovered that they didn't have the resources to pull it off at the time, so they had to shift the whole production to the more standard 3D style. But I suspect the idea of creating 2D animations played a part in influencing their decision to form their 2D animation team to make the Knights of Guinevere. However, this doesn't necessarily explain the long delay the Gaslight District has appeared to have suffered from. Speaking of which, I think it's about time to answer the big question. Why haven't we heard more from this show, even after so long? Well, there are several answers to this question, the first being the creator himself, Mr. Seagull. When we look back at his list of work, he is first and foremost an artist and animator. He is not a story writer, and as far as I can tell, he doesn't have much experience in writing stories, unlike Liam and Gooseworks, who both had at least some story writing experience under their belt before becoming a showrunner. Such a major step up in responsibilities is a daunting task for anyone, so there is a good chance that part-time Seagull is running into issues fully realizing his world and bringing his ideas together, while also creating a compelling story with them. Writing in general is very hard, let alone creating a whole new world and creating a good story within that world. Nick is most likely out of his comfort zone with all this, and while I am sure Glitch is giving him a lot of help, we should still expect the process of creating a whole new show to be a very long one. And with the relative lack of experience of the current showrunner, we should expect things to take a bit longer than they might normally would. To be very clear, this is not me saying in any way that Nick won't be able to make a great show. I myself have very high hope for the Gaslight District, but I'm merely stating that it will likely take a bit longer to get to that point. Another more likely explanation will be Glitch's scheduling. Something that we all must remember is the fact that the same staff that will be working on the Gaslight District are also the same people who have to work on Murder Drones and Digital Circus, as all of these shows are drawing from the same pool of animators and artists, so the team would need to be freed up first before actually starting to animate the Gaslight District. Murder Drones ended in August of 2024, so it is only after this date that Glitch would have had the available staff to properly begin animating the Gaslight District, as all their animators would have previously been busy working on both MD and TACT at the same time. But, you might say, Gaslight was announced in November 2023, so why would they go and announce it so early then, if they wouldn't have the resources for such a long time? Well, something that we must also remember is the fact that Murder Drones Episode 8 suffered major delays, causing its release date to be pushed back significantly, resulting in it taking a lot longer to be completed than Glitch would have initially anticipated. This would have caused all of Glitch's plans to be pushed back, including the Gaslight District, which certainly explains part of the reason why we have had all this dead air regarding the show. However, they have still had 5 months by now to produce the pilot, plus whatever preliminary work they were able to get done between the teaser announcement and MD's finale, so maybe there is something else at work here. Finally, Gaslight could be going through general development hell, with Glitch for whatever reason struggling to get the show together. Now, I hear you say, surely we would have heard about this by now. Why wouldn't have Glitch announced the fact that there had been delays with the Gaslight District? Well, my dear viewer, the fact of the matter is, it makes no sense business-wise for Glitch to publicise any issues they are facing, especially around a show that isn't even out yet. With the production issues that Murder Drones faced, they occurred during the show's run, which made it so Glitch were forced to address them. However, for the Gaslight District, they have no real incentive to do the same. The reason being is that it will shake people's confidence in Glitch if they admit they're having developmental issues, as it hurts their brand image and makes them seem less capable. It's for these reasons that companies in general very rarely admit failure if they can avoid it, choosing to use certain ways of wording things, or simply lying to save face in order to keep their stock prices up by keeping people confident in them and preserve some public image. There is a high likelihood that Glitch isn't having any production issues at all with the Gaslight District, but if they were, they certainly wouldn't be eager to share that information with us all if they could help it, especially when they have so much to lose and nothing to gain from it. If I were to choose which one of these scenarios is the most likely reason for the Gaslight District being delayed, then I would go with the scheduling issues, with maybe a small amount of the other two sprinkled on top. So, what do you think of the Gaslight District? Are you still hyped for its release? Hopefully sometime in our lifetime. And what do you think the main cause of the show's delays and glitches radio silence is? Let me know in the comments section below. Anyway, that'll be all from me. Remember to like and subscribe and do all the other things that every other YouTuber tells you to do. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, check out my other videos, some of which are even good. Maybe. Either way, I hope to see you again very soon. Bye bye.